as darkness falls upon the wooded landscape, the wolves emerge. See now, they howl as the full moon rises.
Let's roll the jingle. Welcome one, or welcome all, to what I'm choosing to call the Full Moon Podcast. It's not so much a podcast as much as it is an outlet for me to talk to whomever wants to listen about a whole bevy of subjects. Most of the time has to do with heavy metal, power metal. I wanted to kick off episode numero uno regarding a band that is super dear to me, Kamelot. Ironically, not Finnish, American, but that's so far beyond the point. They have just yesterday released the second song of what I'm assuming is the full EP, Opus of the Night, otherwise known as Ghost Requiem. Just the sound of it immediately sounded just so far from what they've done these last two albums. I'll get to that a little later on. I'm going to be just giving my thoughts about these two songs. That's the EP, Opus of the Night. So far, if you got Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever, the EP itself at this moment only has two songs. It's kind of the route that artists are going now, where they choose to release songs one at a time versus, here's the EP, 6 songs, have fun with it, and then the album comes out a couple months later. No, it's changed. Now it's kind of getting us hooked one song at a time. So this episode was only really going to encompass the 2 songs. I can just say right off the bat, I absolutely love this song. It is phenomenal. I was a little leery at first. The first song they released on this one was the song One More Flag in the Ground, which is by no stretch of the imagination. It's not a bad song. It is not a bad song. I'll give my full thoughts on that later because this is mostly just about the Opus of the Night. It just hit yesterday, and I listened to the song in upwards of probably 17 or 18 times yesterday. That's just how blown away I was. The song actually beckoned me to come back, not just to listen to it, but really listen to it. There's so much going on in the song itself. Lots of instrumentation, lots of melodies. It's all happening at the same time. You can go back, you can listen to it and focus on a different melody if that's how you like to dissect music. That's how I like to do it. Hence my love for this genre, power metal, symphonic metal. And let me just lay down the rule right now. For all intents and purposes, what I refer to as power metal on this show is, just think of it, it's interchangeably with symphonic metal. I know some of my friends and myself also make the distinction between power and symphonic, but in a strange, non-intuitive way, power metal and symphonic metal they kind of get looped into the same genre. They are so not the same genre, but they sit on the same shelf, if that makes any sense. Bands like Sonata Arctica, power metal, that's a whole subject in itself. Of course, power metal, though. And then bands like Nightwish. 2 very stylistically different bands, but they're normally on the same shelf. You know, you're going shopping for pickles, and there's Vlasic there on one side, and then there's Mount Olive on the other. They're actually, that was a horrible example, but in any case, I'm gonna let it fly. So yeah, just wanted to make that little disclaimer. I will lump power metal and symphonic metal on the same level here. Um, in any case, let's get down to business. So, Camelot's latest EP, officially titled Opus of the Night. So, right off the bat, I immediately thought, like, first impressions was, is this somehow a callback to Ghost Opera? The song, maybe even the album. I mean, yeah, it has the word ghost in it, but I mean, that's kind of what made me think, okay, let's see. What could be going on with this. When I listen to the song, and I'll always suggest you're listening to new music, do it with headphones, never from just your phone or your iPad or from your laptop. No, give it the dignity it deserves. Listen to it through your headphones. And I gotta say, right off the bat, definitely blown away. I mean, I immediately thought to myself, I let myself get hopeful. This sounded 100% like a major throwback to that late Roy Khan era. Ghost Opera, the album, Poetry of the Poison. And I've fallen prey to that before. Kamelot is an amazing band. They've had a lot of singers over the years, but the longest tenured one, Roy Khan, I think that if you ask any longtime Kamelot fan, they will tell you some of their greatest memories of the band, or their ties to the band, was when Roy was in the band. Not taking anything away from Tommy. Not taking anything away from that man at all. He's single. I think he saved Kamelot. I think he did. When when the departure of Roy Khan fell upon this band, I think Tommy really helped Kamelot stay on the map here, because they exploded into popularity after Tommy joined the ranks. But anyway, this song sounded so much like classic Kamelot to me. Well, sorry, not classic Kamelot, but late Khan era Kamelot. The whole reason I brought this up is because for those of us, and I'll admittedly say it, that I enjoy the Roy Khan era of Kamelot so much more. You know, if I have to make a definitive statement, I will say that the Roy Khan era of Kamelot, there's no beating it. There's no beating it. Not taking away anything from the current lineup or where they're at right now. But ever since even Silverthorne hit, reading comments on YouTube, reading comments on Facebook when I used it, especially when Silverthorne hit, Tommy had already been announced and all. Angel of Afterlife, or Sacrimony, that's the name of the first song that they released. I remember reading comments like people rejoicing that, oh, they found someone who sounds like Roy Khan. Oh, Khan, is that you? This and that. I mean, that was literally a comment I read. I myself even thought that, yeah, this guy fits. This guy fits. Since Silverthorne, we've had Haven. We've had the Shadow Theory. The style of Thomas Youngblood's writing changed. I mean, it went from one to the other. I won't get into the stylistics too much, but myself, I was always looking for, where's the trace of the original Kamelot? Like, where is that? That there has to be a thread somewhere in these new albums, and I would kind of think to myself, hey, maybe this one's it. Right off the bat, when Haven came out, I think Veil of Elysium was the first song they released. I think that was the EP, if I'm not wrong. And that has like a very... It sounded a lot like, hey, this is kind of like that original Kamelot sound with the hook. Just one day I know we will meet again. It had that very it had that signature Kamelot sound, or so I thought. Like, hey, this is This is probably the closest we're going to get to having that old Camelot sound. Admittedly, I've been looking for that. From Haven unto Shadow Theory, and Shadow Theory, Vespertine was that like, oh, okay, here we go. This sounds like classic Camelot. That song is special. That song is very special. I still think it is like a huge departure from the rest of that album, and it does still to me holds that like maybe quasi epica karma sound from those two albums. But it never sat well. It never sat like, yes, this is the Camelot callback that I have been looking for. Enter Opus of the Night. I have not listened to a Camelot song 18 times in one night because I was that excited about it. This song has something else. This song is, to me, a successor of the Ghost Opera song. You can even argue this could be Ghost Opera Part 2. Stylistically, it even mirrors Ghost Opera. You have that heavy intro in the beginning that just kind of builds up to the revealing of the melody that you're going to be hearing over and over. It's almost like an overture. The hook even plays off Ghost Opera's melody. Ghost Opera's melody went like ba 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 bum bum. This one is bum 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 bum. Oh, I forgot it. Maybe I should edit that part out. But the intro to this song, it plays off the melody. Ba 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 bum bum. That's the intro right there. That hook plays off of Ghost Opera. It sounds so alike to it. Even in the song, listen closely. Towards the end of the first verse, you will hear the callback to Ghost Opera. You'll hear the strings go bum 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 right before verse 2 starts. Sounds a lot like Ghost Opera's "Welcome all to curtain call at the opera." It has that same cadence to it. So, like, when I heard that, I had to confirm it the second time, and it was 100% okay. All right. Okay, Youngblood knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing with that. The other stylistic similarity is these high-flying soprano vocals, which I will not even attempt. But if you listen in the chorus of Ghost Opera, you will hear a soprano singer wailing high notes in the background to, again, kind of give it this, like, haunted vibe to it. The song is not about ghosts, by the way. You just listen to the lyrics and watch the music video, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this song also has those high-flying soprano vocals, which are just so much more impressive, obviously. They go ridiculously high. I even think that maybe even the song content, like the lyrical content, I just, in my mind, I'm tying it together. Ghost Opera, if you watch the music video, it's about an old ballet singer, an old ballet dancer, performer, or something of the sort, just, reminiscing to the what she had to go through, what she gave of her soul to reach the fame and acclaim that she wanted, but maybe even using the theater, the stage, as a way to suppress traumatic memories. Watch the music video. With those words in mind, go watch it. This song, I haven't studied the lyrics. The lyric sheet hasn't been released yet, but it seems to be about a woman singing you the opus of the night. Maybe she's a strong matriarchal character, or maybe it's a continuation of the character in Ghost Opera. We don't know. But anyway, I digress. Something new in the song. So you hear the orchestra in the background of Ghost Opera. This song also has that, but it plays more of, it focuses more on cello, which I love that. I absolutely love cello and metal. I love cello metal, Apocalyptica. Calling out to them. For the cello, they brought on the very talented Tina Guo, if I'm not butchering her last name. She's a Chinese-American cellist. She actually did work with Sabaton recently, I believe on the song Steel Commanders. And you could hear her work more in this song anyway. Love the cello. I think that particular stringed instrument gives a wider range in setting the mood to this song. You have the guitar, you have the orchestra raging in the background, but this cello, the involvement of the cello in this song, I think it adds to the overall like hypnotic quality that exists. Absolutely phenomenal ad. I'm gonna try to check out some of Tina's stuff. Tina Guo, that's spelled golf uniform Oscar Guo. She seems to be a very talented cellist. Her Google page even says that she's an erhuist. That's playing the erhu, which I believe, forgive my ignorance, I believe is also a stringed instrument. I want to say of maybe Mongolian descent, because I know these Mongolian bands will use that erhu. In any case, so it has a big callback. This song has a huge callback to that era, which, once I confirmed it, it was there. I was ecstatic, just beside myself. There's also there's also the blueprint of current Camelot. Like this song even kind of sounded like the song Phantom Divine to me, which is the first song of the last album, The Shadow Theory. So it has that. It seems like a marriage of the old Camelot and the new Camelot itself. But this one, Opus of the Night, it has that operatic / symphonic aspect to it. To me, I think that drives it past any boundary that was set by the last two Camelot albums. I would dare say this style is going back towards the pre-Haven era. To me, I feel that this style is where Thomas Youngblood's musical composition truly shines. I like Haven. Great album. I mean, it took like, hey, it took the fans by the scruff of our shirts and said, this is the new direction of Camelot. I think they traded away maybe some more of the melodic orchestral sound, traded it in for like heaviness. Before that, we didn't really have a lot of heavy Camelot songs. Like you could argue, I would say maybe the Great Pandemonium might have been probably the heaviest Camelot song. Feel free to correct me. I could be dead wrong. That's maybe just what I can think of right now. Shadow Theory was Haven Part 2. And my thoughts on Shadow Theory, I guess it'll probably be a future episode or a segment or something. I'll preface it by saying that I actually liked the latter half of Shadow Theory more so than the first 5 or 6 songs. But getting back to the point, this style of Camelot, where it's that more orchestral, the more symphonic. A lot of their albums maybe dealt with stories that maybe took place in more medieval times or times of past. I'm thinking Fourth Legacy, which the whole thing was a concept album about the story of King Arthur. Sounds nerdy, but that album kicks so much butt. And then you have the retake of the Faustian lore in Epica and the Black Halo. None of that is in modern times. So that to me is always kind of where Camelot lay. And to me it was, I like it better. I like it better because, the Latin chanting in the background, the presence of the orchestra. I keep saying orchestra. You're going to hear me say that a lot today. It fit the tone. Haven Shadow Theory had this like futuristic vibe to it. Not bad, just different. Just different. It almost has this if you look at the music video to Liar Liar, I read some comments saying something along the lines of like, hey, this is kind of like there's a lot of Hunger Games to this, which kind of made me cringe a little bit. Not a huge fan of that series, but I can see it. I saw what they were talking about. But this is the style. I really hope the rest of the album is like this. I am really hoping. And speaking of that Latin chanting, that's also one of these Camelot staples. It's always been there. And there was a time I went, actually, I think my first Camelot concert back in 2012, went with my bro. I think that was probably our first, well, no, maybe it was his first metal show. I had seen Camelot the year before. Actually, I saw Camelot in 2011. Uh, this was after Roy Khan had left, but before Tommy. So the stand-in singer was Fabio Leone, which is the singer of Rhapsody. It's formerly known as Rhapsody of Fire. No, they are Rhapsody of Fire. There's a brother or sister band, however you want to look at it, called Luca Turilli's Rhapsody. They're two different bands by the same. Anyway, he was the singer. So 2012 comes along. Me and my bro are there at the concert down in Fort Lauderdale. Nightwish actually opened up for Camelot. Yeah, wrap your heads around that. Nightwish opened up for Camelot, which in reality it was Camelot featuring the special guest Nightwish. In any case, I digress. But I was in the line for the merch. And there were the tour shirts, which they didn't have my size, so I wasn't even going to bother. But I bought the Silverthorn shirt with the front. The front had a graphic of ravens flying in a cloudy sky, with the words on the back "En morte ultima veritas," which death is the final truth. If you look that up. And I remember this boomer behind me was just going on about, there's Latin words, like basically complaining that like his whole thing was Camelot. Why are they using the Latin words? He thought it was like a poser move. You know how these boomer metalheads are. If it's not Metallica, if it's not Slayer or Anthrax, it's like wussy metal. I don't know what the guy was doing here. Maybe he was a Camelot fan. Maybe he had too much to drink. How you get drunk off of Bud Light? That's your problem, not mine. My whole thought process was, brother, Latin chanting has been in Camelot since some of the earliest albums, from way back. Fourth Legacy, Epica. I mean, I didn't listen to Siege Perilous, which that's Roy Khan's first album. I'm sure I really should listen to that album. Yeah, it was just kind of like a, dude, you must not know Camelot, I guess. I don't know. Hey, whatever. So I love how that just stays a constant in Camelot's music. I absolutely love it. To me, it gives this, it gives to me a vibe that there's like a regalness to it. I mean, hence, come on, the band's name is Kamelot. The whole thing plays on the whole story of Camelot. They just changed it up a little bit. So, I've just gushed about how great the song is. Are there any knocks? Yeah, there is a knock. I can't help but detect, and I hope I'm wrong, I can't help but detect a hint of pitch correction towards the end of the song, otherwise known as autotune. Not T-Pain autotune. I can't help but think that maybe that's there. It's something about it sounds a little corrected. I could be dead wrong. And I will say this, I hope I am dead wrong. But it doesn't take away anything from the song itself. I mean, you can hear Tommy Karavic's vocals absolutely soaring in this one. In fact, let's talk about vocals next. Okay, let's talk Tommy. Tommy Karavik. His vocals on this track are probably the most unlocked they've been since he joined up with Kamelot. I guess it makes sense that that would be so. In his third album with the band, I think he's really come into his own here, not just as a musician on the tracks of these albums, even as a presence. I mean, if you've ever I've met Tommy Karavik a handful of times, waiting like a fangirl at the end of a concert. This guy is top notch, man. Maybe in a later episode, I'll talk about my experiences meeting the different members of Kamelot, past and present. and maybe some other bands too, because these people are the salt of the earth, man. Like, they're on stage, you think they're rock stars, but they're just normal people that love music and just are exceptionally fine at their craft. But let's talk his vocals. I feel like when Haven came out, Shadow Theory came out. I mean, his vocals are excellent. This dude's got range. You can see he really boasts it with like the mid to high ranges and the high ranges. I actually came to this observation when I decided to check out his original band, Seventh Wonder, progressive metal group, prog metal. Man, that's something to really get your head wrapped around. It's like whiskey; you've got to develop a taste for it. But my God, you want to hear what his vocal capabilities are? I'm tripping over my words. What his vocal capabilities are? Listen to Seventh Wonder. Uh, I'll throw out, I think the album is called The Ever Ones. Check it out. His vocals are insane. And when I listened to Seventh Wonder, I thought, why don't we have that with Kamelot? So, Haven, he's super subdued. Silverthorn, he's stylistically closer to Khan in that way. And I even read in it or heard in an interview, they were interviewing Thomas Youngblood, and when Karavik came onto the band, how do you replace, a singer like Roy Khan, especially somebody who's been with the band for so long? So his approach was, hey, let's kind of just continue the route that Kamelot's been going, and write something stylistically similar. Because if you completely change up your style on the first album of the new singer, you may end up dividing your fan base or alienating or even losing some fans. Thomas Holopainen, I'm looking at you, man. Another episode in itself. But Karavik's vocals, I think he could have done a lot more, and it's not because of him. I just think that the writing didn't really lend itself to that. That changes in this song. You can hear him. You can hear him just stepping into his own, and I would dare say, like, and again, to me, this song is a marriage of old Kamelot and new Kamelot, and I feel like if albums had come out with this particular style, the transition would be even smoother. I'm just glad to see or hear that it's going back to this. But anyway, this song does show off his range. It's funny because even at some point in the song, I won't try to sing it. I feel like he kind of defeats himself with his vocals. If you've ever challenged yourself singing karaoke and you're deciding, let me sing that song with that high register, I'm the only one that can hear me in this car, I'm the only one that can hear me in this shower, and you try to sing up high, really, really high, but you can't get to that note that's just right above your register, so you drop down an octave. And instead of singing all the way up here, you're back to here because this is how much you can handle. And I feel like Tommy definitely did that to himself. In the song, I obviously can't play it for any copyright issues. But if you navigate to minute 4, second 28, the lyric cue, I think the lyric is "step into the light." You can hear he has to step down, but it fits so well in the song. It's not even an issue. You can't even second guess this guy's talent. So I'm not. And Kamelot, I don't think that they downtune their songs live. So maybe they should for this one, because I can't imagine this man going on tour and doing that every other night. But hey, up to this point they haven't. So we'll see. So the end of the song itself also it stirred a lot of excitement in me because they ended this song in a way that they haven't in such a long time, with the instrument, the tempo fading down, the tempo of the song fading down, the guitars playing their last chords and it's fading off into the end of the song. I haven't heard that since the song Farewell on Epica, where it ends like that before leading into the next song. Technically in this song, the music does return for one last striking of the guitar and that last emphatic bum after this very falsetto this falsetto that Tommy uses to end off the song, singing the Opus of the Night. Oh God, I can't wait for the lyrics to come out because I want to delve into this a lot deeper. I thought that was a great touch. I haven't seen that in a long time. I mean, if I'm wrong, heck, let me know. But in any case, fantastic touch. Great way to end the song. I mean, wow. I don't think I've been this excited for a Kamelot album to come out. And I jumped on board to the Kamelot bandwagon, I think when Poetry of the Poison had been released. So I was a latecomer. So I hadn't been this excited maybe since the release of Silverthorn, because, hey, the band's continuing without their lead singer. But this one of the lyrics in the song, surrender your heart to the melody. I can say I did that. Again, I think I listened to the song maybe 18 times last night. Absolutely, absolutely fantastic song. So, just concluding thoughts on Opus of the Night, man. I mean, like I said, I like Haven. I like Shadow Theory. But this is the Kamelot song. This is the Kamelot style that's been missing for a long time. Silverthorn came out 11 years ago. This song is stylistically closer to that era. Silverthorn, going backwards, Poetry of the Poison, going backwards, Ghost Opera. I really hope the rest of this album carries on like Opus of the Night does. So that's my thoughts on the first song of the EP. I'm going to finish off this episode a little bit on a more critical note. So, one more flag in the ground. That song, I think it came out maybe 2 weeks ago or so. I have a lot less feeling for it, if I'm being brutally honest. This song carries on the spirit of Haven and the Shadow Theory. It's the anthemic, quote-unquote, pop hit. I foresee this song being one of the latest sing-alongs that Kamelot will have in the crowd. All of the songs are sing-alongs. If you're a fan of Kamelot, you're singing along to every song in the set list. You're leaving that night coughing up blood with how much you blew out your vocal cords. But Kamelot's always had these anthemic songs. So this is that one. Kind of like how Veil of Elysium was that anthemic sing-along song on Going Back to Haven. The intro of this song, it actually gives me vibes of the Metallica song Wherever I May Roam. It just kind of kicks off, and I wonder if it's a call to it. It gives me vibes of that. Being brutally honest, like I mentioned at the start of this segment here, I'm really not too enthusiastic about One More Flag in the Ground. I might need some more time with this one, but there's been a handful of Kamelot songs on the last two albums that I feel like I've kind of had to quote-unquote force onto myself. I have no problem saying I don't like a song. It's kind of hard for me to say I don't like it when it's just, no, I really don't enjoy it, but it's not like I dislike it. Maybe I need more time with this one. This one is just, this song could have been on Shadow Theory or Haven, blinking an eye, and you wouldn't have noticed it's on another album. I am going to give some love to the music video of this song, though. I'm later going to do probably a whole episode on what makes a great music video, and specifically what Kamelot does so well, what they've done so well for a long time with their music videos. I'll just say this, just check out the music video for One More Flag in the Ground. Good. It's great. It's fantastic. And I think what they're doing is really approaching more of a cinematic take to Kamelot, which they have been doing since Haven. So that awesome venture. My my hat goes off to you there, Thomas. Hey, well, concluding thoughts. Just about reached everything that I wanted to speak about that I have here on my script. In short, I'm pumped for this new album. I am pumped. Without Opus of the Night, if we just had one more flag in the ground to go off of, I know it sounds like I'm hating on this song so much, but I'm just being honest here. If this was the only song we had to go off on, and you were to ask me, hey, are you excited about this new album? Of course, my immediate answer is, well, yeah, I'm definitely pumped for it to come out, because I'm a band lifer. I mean, once I've emotionally connected with a band, it's really hard for me to it's really hard for me to say I don't like an album or I don't like a song, and that doesn't mean that I will say that I like all the songs. Just a couple minutes ago, I said that there's a handful of new Kamelot songs that I feel like I've tried to really like, but just can't. They don't hit me the same way. Huge fan of Sonata Arctica. I hate the song I Have a Right. I think it's awful. Yet I know all the lyrics and I sing along in the shower. But I will tell you that is not my favorite song. So far be it from me to say just because I'm a lifer of your band, that I won't dislike a song. Um, Unless you're Nightwish and you go off and pull that stunt that you did with Endless Forms, then another topic on its own. In any case, I'm ecstatic. I am absolutely pumped up for this new Kamelot album, especially if we have more songs like Opus of the Night. Kamelot's not disappointed. They haven't. And it's funny because a lot of these bands that have started in, the 90s or, late 90s, they're really hitting their stride now. Sabaton, they're on a big platform right now. Kamelot has reached that. Funny enough, though, Kamelot actually really started back in 1986 or so, predating Mark Vanderbilt, who was their first recording singer. They had two before that, but that was before they even, I think, put a demo together, or they did put a demo before Vanderbilt. Not sure. In any case, it is fantastic to see Kamelot reach the acclaim that they have within this niche audience. I really think that the new generation of metal fans are really drawn to bands like Kamelot, drawn to bands like Sabaton, Nightwish, even. And then you've got some of these newer acts that, again, they're probably not all that new. Love Bites, a lot of these Japanese bands. Dan, I am not going to mention baby metal, but I have to mention baby metal. In any case, metal is so far from the mainstream, I think we're just fine where we're at. We don't need to be in the mainstream. The music, recording labels, it's twisted enough. It's pretty awful. And the last thing you need is mainstream media. We don't need it. We don't need it. Metal's in the underground. We're fine where we're at. And Kamelot has really, really stepped it up. I'm pumped for this album. Can't wait for it to come out. I am going to buy the physical disc. My thoughts about supporting your artists. Yeah, we have the streaming services. Yeah, it's easier. But, guys, these artists they hardly make a cent. Those memes about Spotify. Oh, you have 1 million listens. You have 0.7 cents to collect. The joke masks the truth, but that's the truth. I mean, why do you think a lot of these bands have to make a social media presence? They have to make a Twitch presence. Shout out to Herman Lee of Dragon Force. I think it's awesome that he does that. But we're not in the same world where it's album sales and concerts that sell it. Now it's like bands really have to crank out these tours, and that takes a huge toll on you. That takes a huge toll on your career. It takes a huge toll on your family life. You've had people leave bands because they just don't want to do it anymore. That's a hard ask to be away from your family for 3 months at a time, traveling all over the world and just lacking that connection that you want with your family. It's a job after all, but these guys aren't millionaires. They're not wealthy like that. They do this because they love it. So go out and buy the album. they visit you locally, go to the show, man. Just keep, like Tony Kako, Sonata Arctica vocalist, man. He says keep live music live, and I greatly appreciate that man thanks his audience from the depths of his heart, and he always ends that commendation with keeping live music live. Do it. I'm gonna buy the album. I'll get the special edition. Running out of space to put my CDs anyway. But that wraps up episode number 1 of the Full Moon Podcast. Y'all know who I am. I'm not giving my real name. You can call me Wolfman. I got a lot of hair and long sideburns, so I have some ideas for later episodes. I have a ton of albums that I will retroactively review. I've wanted to review stuff for a long time. Heck, I'll even talk about my introduction to this genre and how I became the metalhead that I am and the power metal aficionado that I am. I mentioned what makes a good music video for metal bands, what Kamelot does really well. I'd love to expound more on that. And maybe even a segment on my top 5 favorite bands and why they are so. This quote-unquote podcast is not just going to be about, just about music and power metal or heavy metal. It's not going to be just that. For those of my dear friends listening in, totally love it that you guys are actually indulging me in listening to this. I've got thoughts on other subjects. When football season starts up, I might do a little segment with my bro about maybe how the Dolphins are doing specifically, but I'll have other topics to bring up. Hey, if you're bored at work and you want to listen to your friend ramble, hey, I'm here. So, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Hope to see you all next time. And, keep rocking hard, keep rocking loud. I don't know if that's going to be my tag off, but hey, I'm working on it. Shoot me a message or something if you have a better idea. Deuces.